before us is H 5684 unamended. Roll call is required and ordered.
Representative Jordan?
Aye.
Representative Bamberg?
No.
Representative Mitchell? Representative Newton?
Aye.
Representative Wetmore?
No.
The bill receives a favorable report with 3 in favor and 2 against.
That puts us on 5683. Chairman Newton, you're recognized.
Hi, hello, how you doing? This is Navigator here, coming to bring you big news. In the redistricting war going around the country, where in order to get out more seats, they're basically getting rid of the Democrat seats that they were forced into keeping. With racist gerrymandering that did nothing, it didn't help black people, it just helped the Democrats, giving them an artificial lead. Because of the unnecessary and at this moment useless Civil Rights Act. Because the Civil Rights Act, what it did was made it that it is illegal to draw lines of people based off race, which that's just segregation. That should have not been around this long. And because of that, other states are going around and basically getting rid of the racist blue pockets that the government was forcing that did nothing but made an artificial Democrat advantage, because blacks overwhelmingly vote for Democrats. I don't know why. They haven't done anything. But the ironic thing is that this will actually help the blacks, because I bet there are some black people in those blue districts who are forced to stay together because Democrats are racist, that they would want to vote for Republican. But because of all the blacks who keep voting for Democrat, even though they did nothing for them in the last 50 or 40 years, their vote gets diluted. And now, because that is gone, many states like South Carolina are starting to redistricting and they're winning, because they were forced to keep, they had made a map where they didn't want to put race into the equation, and Democrats went to court for that, to keep it like that. And now, that's insane. They love their racism. But now they're going ahead and starting to redistrict.
Court order blocking Alabama from pursuing new congressional maps. The practical impact of that decision is that Alabama can move forward with redistricting efforts, having passed new maps on Friday. That sets the stage for Alabama to get rid of one of 2 largely black congressional districts before this year's midterm elections. The decision follows a Supreme Court ruling in April that struck down a majority black U.S. House district in Louisiana as unconstitutional.
But basically very much narrows the Voting Rights Act.
Was it considered a win for who?
A win for Republicans.
I love it.
But my question...
This is a very good... We can end this news conference right now. I want to read it.
My question for you, Mr. President, is that some Republican governors have not responded in terms of what they're going to do. I guess early voting, for example, in Louisiana...
Republican governors what?
Republican governors.
What about it?
Early voting begins Saturday there, for instance. Should they redraw the map in the next couple of weeks?
I would. I mean, it depends. I mean, some states don't need to redraw, and some do. I mean, I know what the concept of the road, I just haven't seen the result. Yeah, I would say generally I would think that they would want to do it. Some are greatly helped, and some, didn't make much difference. Yeah, I would say they would do that. They have time to do it. Yeah, please.
When Eldridge Gerry drew a map in Massachusetts to try to preserve the Federalists, and somebody said, boy, that district looks like a salamander, and somebody else said, oh no, that's a gerrymander. Wow. That's where the word comes from. So that's the only other time in American history that we've seen the mobilization of everything. I mean, California's involved. Democrats didn't mind when California wiped out Republican seats. They loved Virginia wiping out Republican seats. All of a sudden, the institutional tide has turned, and this is why Trump is such a historic figure.
Yes, I like this a lot. I love to see MAGA, or at least the ones who want to pretend to be MAGA, actually fighting back. Unlike the ones in Indiana who lost all their seats. Because we need fighters. We are not dealing with the Democrats of the 90s. We're not even dealing with the Obama Democrats anymore. They still had American flags. We're dealing with a Marxist, communist, radical Islamist group. Let's be honest, domestic terrorists. The Democrats are a domestic terrorist organization, let's be honest, that want to do nothing but tear down this country. And that will lead to a bunch of lives being lost. We're dealing with, honestly, pure evil at this point. Let's be honest. Name one thing. Leave me there in the comments. Name me one thing, just one, that the Democrats have done in office since Trump got back in the election that has helped Americans, or at least helped people in general, and not call for war. And now they're dealing with a big problem because they're getting pincered. A pincered attack. Not only are they losing power because they can no longer draw districts based off race, which they all did that, all of them, every blue state, which will cause them to lose up to 15 or 20 seats, which is good because we do not need DEI Congress. They were just there for their color of their skin. Jasmine Crockett was there only because she was a black woman, let's be honest. Same with Ellen Omar, just because of their race. And same with the whole Black Caucus thing too. That's just pathetic. Do we have a white caucus or an Asian caucus or an Indian caucus? No, get over yourself. And now they're just crying, blah blah blah, which is awesome. You want to see your opponent crying because they have no more options. Well, they have one option, which is going to probably lead to violence, because when these people don't get their way, they always get violent. Like always. Look what happened at Roe v. Wade, Black Lives Matter, the Tesla bombings. They tried to kill Trump twice this month. And it's just annoying. But I love seeing them cry.
It's a congressional map in the Commonwealth of Virginia ever since that idea hit a brick wall. Chad Pergram, what are they going to do now? Live on the Hill. Chad, good to see you.
Bill, good morning. The Virginia Supreme Court nullified new congressional maps which favored Democrats. The party burned $60 million on that effort. Before that, Democrats thought they could flip the House. Jeffries claims that's still in the cards.
We're going to win back the House of Representatives in November. We are only 3 seats short. We historically overperformed in November, and that's one of the reasons why Republicans are in panic mode. We all have to come together to actually push back against this unprecedented attack on our democracy.
Democrats are desperate after the ruling in Virginia. They even discussed changing justices on the Virginia Supreme Court. The U.S. Supreme Court nullified part of the Voting Rights Act. That could cost the Congressional Black Caucus 10 to 20 members. That includes the seat of Troy Carter in Louisiana.
Racism is alive and well in America, and in many cases it's more healthy now than it's ever been.
Alabama is now considering a plan to eliminate at least one, if not both, Democratic seats there. Republicans believe Democrats are on the run.
We have a battlefield, a map that favors Republicans. We've got better candidates. We've gone out and recruited some of the best.
So let's talk about the redistricting wars, the gerrymandering wars more broadly. President Trump kicked off this battle by urging Texas to redistrict and create more Republican-leaning seats last year. Then Democrats decided to fight fire with fire. California came after that, Virginia, and more. After redrawing maps in 6 states, Republicans now have approximately an 8-seat advantage in these gerrymandering wars. What do you think this might mean come November? Might Republicans hold the House?
Well, they might, and they might not, because I do believe that the voters in this country are watching very closely, and they are feeling emotionally what the threat is to our future. And I do not believe that the majority of the voters in this country condone and will agree with what President Trump is doing. South Carolina, our delegation, our House, talked with him, the Senate, I guess, on the day before yesterday. But the Supreme Court, 2 years ago, spoke to this district and said it was not unconstitutional. But the president says he wants them to redraw the lines anyway. All I'm going to say to that is be very careful what you pray for. Because what I do believe is that when they finish with the redistricting, there will be the possibilities of at least 3 Democrats getting elected here in South Carolina to the United States Congress.
Oh, so you think that the redistricting they're doing in South Carolina could not only dilute your Democratic-leaning district, but other Republican-leaning districts so as to make them more competitive. That's interesting.
Years, federal courts have forced Alabama to draw its congressional and legislative maps around race, ordering the state to create majority-minority districts under the Voting Rights Act. We have fought for years against courts forcing Alabama to sort its citizens by race, and we were right to fight. On April 29th, the United States Supreme Court issued a landmark ruling in Louisiana versus Calais. The court confirmed what we have been arguing for years. States cannot be forced to gerrymander by race. Challengers to a state's map must now prove that race, not partisan politics, actually drove the state's decisions. That is a watershed moment for Alabama, but we didn't celebrate. Instead, we went to work. The very next day, April 30th, we went straight to the United States Supreme Court with emergency motions in 3 separate cases. We asked the court to lift the injunctions blocking Alabama from using the map our legislature lawfully enacted. On May 4th, we filed an emergency motion with the 11th Circuit to lift the injunctions on our state Senate map, asking for a ruling before our May 19th primary. On May 5th, we went back to the district court itself and asked it to stay its own orders on the congressional map while the appeals proceeded. On May 7th, we filed a reply brief in the 11th Circuit dismantling every argument the NAACP raised, argument by argument, and making clear their legal theories wrong. And on May 9th, we went back to the Supreme Court with emergency applications, asking the court to immediately block the race-based court-drawn congressional map before May 19th. This afternoon, they did just that. Let's be clear about what happened here. Alabama originally drew its maps around geography and communities, the Gulf Coast, the Black Belt, the Wiregrass, and a federal court punished us for it. Today, the Supreme Court vindicated the state's long-held position. Now the power to draw Alabama's maps goes back to the people's elected representatives. That's our legislature. For too long, unelected federal judges have had more say over Alabama's elections than Alabama's voters. That ended today. My job in this office was to put the legislature in the best possible legal position to draw a congressional map that favors Republicans 7-0. My office has never taken the charge of our state motto lightly. We dare defend our rights. Stay tuned.
Yeah, and from all of this, I really can't think. There's no one to blame but themselves for the Democrats. What you did in Virginia showed everyone that you care about nothing but power and control, and you were silence whole populations just for it. And yeah, that's true. You can't believe these people. They're evil. Look at their states. And the funny thing is and then after that, they try to go, okay, so we're just going to get rid of the entire court and then put in people just so we can get this passed. And they went to the wrong court. Idiots. And to finish this off, I'm going to go through the Bible, which really makes sense. Proverbs 21:31. The horse is prepared for the day of battle, but deliverance is of the Lord. Thank you. This has been Navigator Podcast. See you next time.